morning, good morning. Hi there. My name's Hilary. I'm from Lush Cosmetics in England, and I'm actually here not to talk about healthcare, but to talk about how a puppet company from Saxapaha ended up at a business conference in London. Yeah, who'd have known? So I guess a little bit about our company. We're called Lush Cosmetics. We make soap, bath bombs, face creams, that sort of thing. We started on the south coast of England in 1995 with one tiny little shop. The general store here, massive compared to the size that we were. We're now in 40 countries around the world, and we invent, manufacture, and have our own retail shops for all of our products. So that's us and what we do. But I guess we're always held up as being a little bit different from most corporations. And I think when first of all, I have to say we. I will keep saying we. And I apologize for that because I'm not one of the owners of Lush. It was started by 5 friends in 1995. I was just lucky enough to be one of the first members of staff when they just had that one shop. So I'll say we, but it's them really. I was just there for the ride. So we're a bit different from everyone else, I think, because when Lush started, it was in the days when animal testing of cosmetics products was the norm. Everyone did it. There were very, very few companies that didn't. And it was very much the decision of the owners of Lush that that wasn't going to be what we did, that we'd shut the company before we animal tested. So there was always a mission that was bigger than making products and making money and running shops. And that sort of kind of set the tone for the whole company and the whole business and the whole history of us. I've done this slide to kind of show you some of the things that were built into the company because we had a mission that was bigger than just making money. So we do all sorts of things. We have a product that we sell called Charity Pot, and the money goes into a fund that charities, activists, campaign groups, community groups can apply to, but they have to be tiny. They have to be volunteer groups. They have to have virtually no income. When we first set this up, when we did the research, 80% of charities in Britain were surviving on less than £20,000 a year. So we thought, well, okay, let's aim our money at them. But they don't have to be charities. They could just be a bunch of people who've got together to do something good. So that's our charity funding. We've also, as we've got bigger, we fund animal testing alternatives. We call it the Lush Prize. A bunch of scientists have a judging panel, external from us, to judge it. We have a Spring Prize, which is about regeneration of damaged landscapes. So again, we give about £250,000 a year to projects that are rewilding and regreening barren landscapes. Other things that we do that I've put up there, I've flown here to do this talk. We tax ourselves on that, and we give the money to anti-aviation groups because we think that, obviously, as a company, we have to fly around, but the air industry is undertaxed and it's over-polluting, and the people that are going to change that are the activists that are fighting for solutions. So we fund them. We do a film fund, funding films about those kind of issues as well, and we also commission music. Anything we do, we try to do it from source and commission people to do it for us rather than just pulling on anything. So that's us. And so how did we get to having puppets at our business meeting? As we got bigger, we sort of fell into that thing where you have to train your staff. You know, we kind of fell into that. We had a training team, and they go out from the UK all over the world to these 40 countries, and they run workshops, and they teach people, the staff, how to approach customers, how, all the product knowledge so that they understand the products, how to close a sale. And as the years went on, we just thought, it started to feel like a zombie army, that we had this really, it's a horrible thing to say, we had this really vibrant company, but the only contact that people, in Australia, Russia, all the other countries that we're in, were having from head office was some people turning up and doing these conventional kind of workshops about how to sell and how to approach. So we just thought, we've got to be able to do better than that. So we were talking about it, and we thought, okay, let's cancel all worldwide training. It costs a fortune, let me tell you, to send people around the world constantly to 40 countries. So we thought, what if we just take that whole budget and blow it on one event? And what we decided to do was hold it in London and invite all of these people, all the people who we've given funding to, all the things we really, really care about, and the things that we're passionate about, that we get to see and do all the time in the sort of central part of the business. But, the people in the outlying places don't get to see and experience that excitement and that inspiration. So we asked all the people that we'd had contact with, all the groups, the charities, the activists, do you want to come to London and showcase your work? And do you want to talk to our staff about it? So that's what we did. We did this enormous 2-day event. The thing is, if you're dealing with some of the poorest charities and campaign groups as well, you have to kind of make it have meaning for them. So what we did individually with them was to say, how would you like to tell your story? How would you like to present at this event? And we will get that material made for you. We'll get the displays made. We'll get the printing done. We'll do whatever it is you want for you to tell your story. And then you can keep it afterwards for your own public outreach. So that's what we did. And, when you do that, you get some crazy... we had refugee groups ask for a border wall. So we actually made them a detention centre in one corner of the meeting space. We had people ask for VR headsets and software and films that we had to make for them to show, all sorts of requests. And it was a really vibrant and crazy event. And we invited all of our staff from around the world to come and experience it, to just choose what they wanted to see, to go around for 2 days, dip in and out. There were talks, there was music, there was film, there was everything. And part of what we wanted to do, part of what I wanted to do was, thinking about, okay, we've got all these activists. What about puppets? What about that street theatre element of protest? Because, we're quite well known in Britain for, I hesitate and take a breath. We're quite well known for funding activists, which at the moment is quite controversial because London has been brought to a halt for the last 2 weeks. They called it off yesterday. I don't know if you've heard of Extinction Rebellion, but they've brought London to a standstill over climate change for the last week. And the media have not been happy with us because obviously we're connected with Extinction Rebellion. So we... I've lost my thread now, thinking about London. You called me away at the wrong time. I should have been blockading the roads. So I was thinking, okay, we've got all these activists, all these street protests that we try and help, and we've got a lot of these groups at our meeting. How about making them some puppets for when they're doing their next protests? So that's what led me to Paper Hand Puppets. So I phoned them and said, hey, I'm this soap maker from the south coast of England, and I'd like you to come over and make some puppets for activists in Britain. I will click on to some of the... So again, we tried to give it meaning. Donovan and Jan from Paper Hand came over, but we put a call out to the groups, what puppets do you want made? And we put a call out to our staff who would like to learn how to make puppets and get involved. So this is all our staff making puppets with the Paper Hand guys. Trump had just been invited on a state visit at the time, so it was essential that we had a Trump head. Donovan was quite happy to do that. Sorry. Exactly. So there's the puppets in action in London on the River Thames with the buildings behind. So it was great, and everyone loved it. Even before the like I said, we get known. Even before the event had finished, the beauty press that had turned up, because we did also have some of our products there so the staff could see what new products were coming up, assumed that as Donovan was wandering around with a Trump head on, that we must be in some way criticizing Trump. So before it even finished, it had appeared in the papers in a fashion website. They've been used afterwards by the activists. This is a Getty image from a demo. Actually, this was Trump arriving. This was the Trump demo when he came on his visit to the UK. Bizarrely, who'd have known? But the BBC noticed that morning when the person got up, chose exactly the right outfit. It's great, isn't it? You just can't plan those things, can you? So, and again, it was just bizarre that she chose to wear red that day. We obviously, honestly, haven't got a hotline to her. This was Theresa's head again being used at an anti-austerity demo. That's Downing Street. This is Brian May. 2 of the masks were made for Brian. For those of you that don't know, Brian is not just a member of Queen, the band. He's an animal rights campaigner in Britain, and very, very strong voice for animals. So he also has a fox and a badger that he uses as well. So that's Brian with some of the paper hand saxophone puppets. I'm going to show you a little 2-minute film so that you can get a sort of a feel for what that meeting was like. It's impossible to give a proper feel for it, but I'll show you a little film, and then Paperhand are going to come on and talk to you about some stuff.
Just having and enjoying this amazing coming together of everyone around the Lush world.
We believe that all people should enjoy freedom of movement across the world.
The value of human beings is something that we can't underestimate, whether it's the people in this room, whether it's our people back in the shops, whether it's refugees, or whether it's the homeless.
We have a free movement of objects in this world. Why don't we have a free movement of humans?
What if your phone had a secret life? What if your phone had its own thing going on, of which you were only dimly aware?
We are living at a time which makes the Renaissance look like child games. And yet we live in a world dominated by a media that corrodes what we all stand for.
When people talk about we're just going to kind of, get involved in permaculture, actually what does that mean and what barriers might there be for different groups in society?
If people are not talking about climate change, they have no sense that it exists.
I need to know that there are other people out there who will try even harder and be even better at the things that I try to do now in terms of environmental campaigning and conservation.
True change, true revolution is not a sideline sport. It's a contact one.
Women and LGBT people and Muslims and immigrants and the disabled sticking together and with that very loud voice saying, we will not be intimidated by you and we will not back down.
We don't need to be saved. We need to be empowered to take charge of our lives.
We need you to tell the people that you vote for that you want a different future.
We believe in people, we believe in fair pay, we believe in diversity, we do not discriminate, and believe in equal rights for all.
Let's focus our anger on action and let's start to try and change the world for a better place. So thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, love. Test. Hello. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Donovan, and I am a Saxophamian. I live right here in this little town, and some of you may have visited my studio just down the way. I make giant puppets. My group is called Paperhand Puppet Intervention. And I'll just pick that apart just to start out so you get a sense of why I'm actually talking to you this morning, because this is a global health conference, and I will just say right off the bat, that's not on my resume, but I do make art toward making the world a better place. And I think many of you in this room share some of these aspirations that we can do better as a human species. Is anyone with me? Can we do better? I think. I just wanted to make sure I was in the right place. So paper hand, I've always loved paper. I've always made things with paper, and cardboard is one of my favorite materials. So I make a lot of our puppets with my partner in this business, whose name is Jan, who's in the room, but he's not up here with me, Jan Berger. And we sculpt cardboard and paper mache, and we use found materials and recycled materials to create puppets like this giant Mother Earth. And then we also take things like sticks and paint them red and dance around with them in artful ways, and all toward inspiring people. And so the hand part, hands are very expressive. They're much of what we're saying to the world around us. It communicates through our hands and how we use them. A really interesting fact from a health point of view would be that the hands, when they initially come out in the embryo, develop off of the heart. And that stuck with me when I learned about this when I was having my own child. But the little fingertips grow out of the heart. And if you think about all that we do with our arms and our hands, it's how we express so much of our love and our passion and all the things that we do. So the next part, puppets. Why puppets? And are these puppets? Yes, is the answer. Puppets, to me, I got introduced through a world-famous group called Bread and Puppet many years ago when I was 19 years old. That's a long time ago. And I was able to see for the first time how art and activism could be united into something that basically inspires us all to be better, because the best art that I've ever seen actually inspires me to be a better person in this world. And I hope to, do some. Oh, don't look at that. That wasn't supposed to be in there. That's me, actually. So the puppets that I saw in that immediately inspired me when I was 19. It was an epiphany that I had, that I needed to continue working in this art form because I saw how it moved other people. I felt how it moved me. And there was something about how when you observe a puppet moving and a puppeteer in their best, form, you are able to empathize and put yourself into the puppet. You feel things and you feel what is happening. And what puppetry does best in that moment is reflect our humanity back to us. And I feel like in that reflection, we can learn things. That's just my hope with this art form, that we see our own foibles and follies and feel our sadnesses, and it actually does something beyond that, because you're engaged in a way that allows you to, I would say, strengthen your empathy muscle. It's a muscle that gets weakened, and that is what puppetry is for me. Except it is also a place where art and music and theater and dance and creative writing or storytelling all come together under one umbrella. And so for me, that was so exciting, I just couldn't turn back after I saw that the first time. So then it comes down to the intervention part. What does that mean? Because I get that question a lot. And I would say that it's an intervention on the business of everyday life. It is a necessary thing for artists to, let's just say, have a paper mache hand reach down from a cardboard cloud and give us a little tap on the head and say, wake up. Let us remember what's really important and what we're here to do in this life, and how we can contribute and be a helper rather than someone who's creating any kind of harm. And unfortunately, within, I just need to grab this water. unfortunately, within the context of the world that we live in and how humanity has evolved, there is a need for intervention because there are many sleeping behaviors and dissociative behaviors, numbing behaviors that allow us to other, not only other people, but other problems, anything. It just allows us to go into a state of non-feeling. And now what our shows try to do, the activism that they really embody, is to allow people to collectively feel in a space together through the art that we do. And so collaborating with Lush was sort of the segue that we have to sort of talk about Artivism and how the intervention part, we went over there and made the things that you see here. This was given to the fox, the hunt sabs they're called, and they try to stop people from slaughtering in horrible ways the foxes that live in England. And we were like, we're happy to contribute to that. The badger is another animal that gets very maltreated in England. And there's a scare and people, so all the different creatures that we made went to these different activist causes. We also made a giant mother of migration, which was just an all-welcoming giant Mother Earth kind of that had people sort of migrating. And it's about the fact that humanity has always moved. It's always been on the move. And to call one person a migrant and another person not is a bit irrational. And so, we're definitely trying hard to take a look at the world, reflect it back honestly and as vividly as we see it, which sometimes means that we kind of go to dark-ish places. Some people automatically think that what we're doing is for kids, and kids enjoy it, and kids can handle a lot more. I think of that. We're never trying to intentionally scare kids, but we do reflect some of humanity's not-so-savory aspects, just what we do. But we also really try to focus on the sort of main, central point is the connectedness that we all share. We're connected through story. We're connected to the earth itself and its creatures. And we literally can no longer ignore what I would call the elephant in the room, but for this case, I'll call it the trash monster in the room. I am responsible, at least in part, for this giant trash monster, which has been looming over you this entire weekend. Sorry about that. And then not sorry. Because of all the things that we're talking about here, which are all super important, and you all are brilliant and innovative, maybe this is a little bit of a Greta Thunberg moment that we are having here, sharing together, that we can no longer ignore the filling up of our oceans with plastic, and a lot of the toxicity that are leading to climate change right around the globe is one of the main things that Jan and I try to approach in our work because we feel like it's central. It's key to our survival here. Without a further, end of sentence. All of the health problems that we're experiencing will just be amplified astronomically by all of these things. Some of the projections, the numbers are all out there. I'm sure you know them better than me. But if the oceans ecosystems collapse, and if the bee populations collapse, and we don't have pollinators to create food, we'll be in a much deeper state. So the choice really comes down to how radical do we need to be right now. It's really, we're going to have to, something's going to have to be shaken up within the course of this status quo that we find ourselves in. I personally find the status quo that we exist in completely unacceptable. I don't know, does anyone else feel that? I'm going to just look for a show of hands. We've allowed ourselves to be conditioned into a state of status quo that is quite literally violent and oppressive and horrid. And I'll give an example really quickly because I went through my mind. Someone puts their body in front of a whale and says, "You cannot shoot this whale with this harpoon." Considered a radical behavior. Eco-terrorist label comes very readily. The person shooting the harpoon literally wiping the planet of whales, business as usual. Now, this is what I mean. Like, we can't just accept tacitly these radical behaviors poisoning our water. 3% of the water on this planet, the same water that's been here since the beginning of the earth, is being poisoned to a degree where we won't be able to drink it. Now, this is a really radical problem, and we just allow corporations to carry on as if that's just normal. And it's not okay, and we have to stand up. We have to rise up together. Are you ready to do that with me today? So right around the world, there are movements happening where people are activating and fighting against some of the rise of fascism, some of the rise of shadowy sides of humanity that are showing the worst of us. And I know that we can do better. And so right around the world, there are movements starting, and there's banners being raised, and there are people gathering and being courageous and digging in and having the tenacity that is necessary for us to be solutionary in our vision and imagine a future together that we can actually all survive within. So we're going to shift gears, and I'm going to pull out this drum because we're just going to mix things up a little bit, and yeah, this hasn't happened yet. We're going to sing a song together. Is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Here's how it goes. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Now it's going to take all of us, and we're going to have to be courageous, and we're going to have to actually rise up together. And we're going to sing that verse together again. Here we go. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back, never turning back. Ready? Gonna raise my voice for freedom. Raise my voice for freedom. Sing! Raise my voice for freedom. Never turning back, never turning back. We're going to stand up now for justice. Here we go. Gonna stand up now for justice. Gonna stand up now for justice. Stand up now for justice. Never turning back. Everybody. Never turning back. One more time. Gonna keep on moving forward. Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. So can we go ahead and play the song? We're going to do one more little jamboree up here to a song that we made for our recent show. Come on up here, butterflies. Everybody get your beautiful butterfly self up here. Yeah, banners too. Jan, you can come up here. There's space for you. I mean, Heron. Come on, butterflies. This is happening. Let's play the song. Everybody clap your hands. Turn it up. Can you let the heron through? much.